On the 16th of April 2021, it was announced that Raul Castro, the head of the Cuban Communist Party, would be stepping down as leader of the party. Between Fidel and Raul, the Castro family has ruled Cuba since the 1959 revolution. Cuba's primary adversary, the United States, has softened its diplomatic stance on the island since the Cold War ended. With the fall of the Soviet Union and decline of Venezuela, Cuba finds itself at a crossroads diplomatically. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. After the Communist Revolution in Cuba succeeded in 1959, relations between the United States and Cuba deteriorated quickly. At that time, many U.S. companies were heavily involved in the country and had their holdings confiscated by the Cuban government. By 1961, the United States had cut off all diplomatic ties with the newly communist country, and the CIA staged the catastrophic Bay of Pigs invasion. A year later, Soviet nuclear weapons were discovered in Cuba by U-2 spy planes, and President Kennedy ordered a blockade of the island. While the United States and the Soviet Union came to a resolution before disaster struck, Cuba remained under strict economic embargo. U.S.-Cuban diplomatic relations stayed cold throughout the rest of the century. In 2008, Fidel Castro resigned as president of Cuba and relinquished control of the party to his brother Raul. Shortly after, the Obama administration began thawing relations by allowing some travel between the two countries. Business restrictions were lessened, and the country was removed from the state sponsors of terrorism list. The Trump administration would reverse these policies starting in 2017. The Biden administration campaigned on reversing the Trump administration's policy and have stated that Castro's resignation would not alter their policy since it was not a top priority. While this is some good news for the Cuban Communist Party, their current position is still precarious. Existing U.S. sanctions, decreasing aid from Venezuela, and the pandemic put negative pressure on the economy. While some economic reforms like the ability to buy and sell private property and self-employment were allowed in the 2010s, discontent with the government is growing. Calls for additional liberties are building due to greater internet access. If further economic reform occurs, the Cuban government may look to the Chinese Communist Party as a model for promoting growth while maintaining control over the country. As for the United States, the age of Cuban regime change through assassination or military action has since passed. While sanctions remained, they have done little to enact regime change. Despite the sanctions, the United States still provides some $3.5 billion in aid to the island nation annually. Agricultural, medical products, and other humanitarian aid make up the bulk of the remittances. The U.S. government is hoping to use the aid in spreading internet access to inspire internal reforms, allowing additional personal and economic freedoms. While it seems unlikely the Communist Party of Cuba will give up control, reform may come whether the party wants it to or not. If U.S. sanctions are removed, tourism, foreign direct investment, imports, and exports could transform the economy of the nation. As the largest nation in the Caribbean, Cuba stands ready to become a regional powerhouse, but that depends on whether Washington and Havana can bury the hatchet after 60 years of diplomatic hostility. What do you think about the United States' policy on Cuba? Is it time to bury the hatchet between the two nations? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.